So you've just rolled out Office 365 and all your users are completely on board and know what to use and when, right? No? Really? Well, actually, that's nothing new. We're finding that more and more organizations are asking, how the heck do you use Office 365? It's not surprising. There are many services one can consume in O365, with more getting added on what seems like a weekly basis. One common way for an organization to roll out these services is to just release them and let them grow organically. In that, just give them to the users. Provide some PDFs and let them just work it out for themselves, because these are, after all, just Office apps, right? Well, this really isn't working for most folk. Most folk are either too busy or not technical enough to understand the PDFs. Some are both, and therefore a lot of people are left wondering what service or application should they be using for what. Hopefully this short video will help. Firstly, keep it simple, both what you are enabling and the messaging around them. There are numerous applications in the O365 suite, but I'm only going to mention Exchange, OneDrive for Business, Yammer, Teams, and SharePoint today. Yes, I'm ignoring the other apps such as Excel and PowerPoint because you already know how to use them. And I'm also ignoring the shouting from others reading this saying, what about all the other cool apps you can use? But we're trying to keep this simple. Therefore, let's get the basics right and then we can concentrate on further cool apps. Okay, first up, Exchange, or to you, the client called Outlook. It's email, right? Yep, keep it simple. There is something that links in with our next app, but I'll cover that later. Next on our list is OneDrive for Business and SharePoint. Look at them this way. Both are repositories for you to store stuff. OneDrive for Business is where you put your own stuff and some of the stuff that you might want to share, like a personal drive. SharePoint is where you put stuff that is stored for everyone else's use. Think of it this way. OneDrive for Business is actually all about you. Then we have Teams, the new kid on the block. Think of Teams as being an application that you use to chat and collaborate with distinct teams of people who may actually be a team themselves. Or they are a virtual team, or indeed they are a team purely based on the fact that they have a common interest in the team site you have created. No one else outside of the team can see what is in the team site, and you can use the team site to gather your chats and comments, as well as store Office documents and then co-author them as required. Next up, we have the old guy of the group, Yammer. I say old guy because Yammer has been around in the cloud a lot longer than any of these other apps. It currently has a different code base than the other apps, and as such isn't quite yet as heavily integrated. What is Yammer used for? Well, we spoke of teams being for distinct groups. And if we want to keep things simple, then let's use Yammer for all of those other group chats, in that each group in Yammer can be seen by everyone else in the organization who can also comment on any group or topic. Also, one thing you can't currently do in Yammer, and that is co-author or jointly work on Office documents together with others. This again is better done in Teams. So there we have it. I said it could be simple. To recap, OneDrive for Business, use it to store your stuff in. SharePoint, use it to store stuff in for general consumption and collaboration. Teams, use this for communicating and collaborating with distinct teams. Yammer, you use this for communicating with everyone in your organization grouped by interest so that folk can dip in and out as required. Outlook, well, use it for email, don't you? Now, another thing, it is important to know that some of these apps are linked. I mentioned Exchange and OneDrive for Business earlier. In OneDrive for Business, and if you are using Outlook in O365, you will see your attachments from your mailbox in your OneDrive for Business. This means that you don't need to search through your inbox for that pesky attachment to do with something that was sent whenever. Now you can search for the same pesky attachment with OneDrive for Business, but still to do with something and sent whenever. Likewise, in your OneDrive for Business, you will also see team site listed. If you click on those team sites, you'll see the contents from those team sites now listed in your OneDrive for Business. The reason for this is that OneDrive for Business is the common storage for those apps. I said earlier that these apps are about you. Well, mine is all about me. And from OneDrive for Business, I can see what files have been shared with me and by whom, my recent file history, and it will also discover files related to me. One final explanation. Here is O365 along with SharePoint in the cloud. A load of sites for storing stuff in. Here is OneDrive for Business on pretty much the same platform as SharePoint, but only for storing your stuff in. Exchange and Teams link in here, like so. One common platform. But look at it like this. This part of the platform is all about you. This part of the platform is all about your organization. In my opinion, all of this is step one in delivering some tangible tools from a digital workplace. The dichotomy here is that we have consumerization driving apps in the workplace, but consumers don't get given apps. They choose the app they need and they already know why they need it. An IT service, on the other hand, has to make a call on what apps their users need, but in doing so, they have to ensure their users do know what to use and when, and this has to be done in a simplistic way. Simplistic for me isn't just turning them on and hoping things will grow organically, but showing folk what to use and when in a simple, easy to understand fashion.